If you need, we've got shell splinters to show. Hello, my name is Valeria Moskalenko. I am a headmistress of Motyzhyn Lyceum. Our village, unfortunately, was occupied for a month. People were totally cut off from the rest of the world. As for our school, the last day before the village was liberated, a shell hit the school. The concert hall totally burned, as well as 2 classrooms above. It used to be light and cozy. We would have meetings with famous people here, showed documentaries to children. There was a stage, a projector. We had concerts here. We've got a lot of talented children in school. They play musical instruments, paint and draw, sing. It was always very interesting. Some children, when seeing it like this for the first time, cried. It was the world literature classroom, and that was a history classroom. There was a wall between them. But that one didn't burn, it's all black though. How did they treat people? We all stayed at our homes and tried to stay quiet, because we were really scared. And children stayed with you. They weren't taken away. They stayed. In my house there were 15 people. A lot of people came from Bucha, Hostomel to hide in the village. They thought it would be safer in the village. Did they torture civilians? They would shoot people if they were crossing a street or wearing black clothes. They had their rules. Did a lot of people die? A lot of people died on the way from Motyzhyn to Yasnogorodka. It was the only way from the village. All the other roads were controlled by Russians. And on that road they didn't stay there constantly. Our village headwoman, Olga Petrivna, lived on that side of the village, and they watched the road. When there was no one there, they'd call people to tell them they could go. For 3 weeks people would leave the village not knowing what to expect. Did they shoot them? Yes, they started shooting eventually when they realized that people were fleeing with that road. There is a road and fields on both sides, and the machinery was in the field, and they would shell. Officially, 37 people died there. Were they Russians or Burats or Kadyrovits? There were a lot of Burats, and we then found IDs from Dagestan. Our village headwoman helped people a lot. For 3 weeks her family secretly gave out bread to people, some medicine. They would leave the village to get some needed stuff. They helped a lot. They helped about 200 cars to leave the village by watching the road and informing people about the situation. Probably Russians found out about it, or they caught some volunteers or something, and they took the whole family. The village headwoman, her husband, and their son. They had them for a week. We were looking for them everywhere. And when the village was freed on March 30th, when the Ukrainian armed forces came here, they started looking for them too, because people told them about the family. And on April 2nd they were found in a common grave, tortured to death, with their hands tied. Was there anybody else in the common grave? 3 of them and some volunteers. There was another grave nearby. There was a woman aged 42. The first time they shot someone was in the yard of that person on the very first day when they entered the village. Our neighbor was a doctor with the area defense group. He gave first aid to that man, and at night, when it was dark, they tried to take him to hospital in Makariv. But the car was shelled. Everybody died in there. It was the first time when people died here. It was really scary. Where I live, people have big plots of land and no fences. So they would drive armed troops carriers across plots of land, yards. They shot cars if people had them in the yards. The next day I saw my neighbors replacing wheels because they were going to leave. Thanks God they didn't hit the gas tank and there were no victims. Thanks God everyone is alive. Life is precious, and it turned out later that not everyone was lucky to leave the village. A lot of people were killed on the road. It's called the Road of Death now. We left on March 3rd at around 12 p.m. And later that day people posted videos that there was shelling on the road a couple of hours later after we left. It was petrifying. You've started renovating using your own resources, haven't you? Yes, we've turned to volunteers at first, and a lot of volunteers initiated helping us themselves. Some days after it all happened, some volunteers from Fastiv came here and helped us to clean up the place. They provided us with trucks to take it all away. And now, yes, we are doing it all ourselves. Parents are helping, we are changing the wallpaper, a lot of walls are damaged, we are fixing them. Interactive whiteboards are ruined too. We are applying to different foundations, they start collecting money for our school, and villagers themselves initiate collecting money too. We accept any kind of help, and we are grateful to everyone who helps us somehow.